Mic check, mic check. Okay. Currently at Rancho, doing the resource center scenario. This is the first week that I'm going to be putting up the tents and what have you. So that was really solid. It's like a lot. It went a lot faster than I thought it was going to be. It's like 5, 10 minutes of solidly setting it up, and then also understanding that they didn't have the checklist then or any other information that I've been sending Art. And then on top of that, it's one of those things where like this individual read whatever it is that I had sent over and said it was really long or what have you too. So it gives me a good sense in regards to kind of education and or resources they're putting out there and what we're interested in giving out. So that being said, it was pretty solid. Had a solid weekend, but it's one of those things where like there's still like some kinks essentially to be like worked out or what have you too. And then let me put it like this. Haven't put in any work in regards to mom and just in general, just leaving her on her own for the meanwhile. Mind you, we live together, so like it's one of those things. And so definitely working my way into having proper conversation and or also some like mom and son dates type shit too. My sister, it's one of those things where like her significant other, what have you, had a setting, had a had some issue and or what have you. And so to be able to essentially speak with them, kind of set up some solid boundaries with them. And then on top of that too, it led over to the idea of talking to them in general and or my sister in general. And then something's going on with this guy's mom or what have you. So I can only imagine what he's going through on top of having like kids and stuff. So it was pretty solid. It's a pretty solid conversation. And then so the work is being done there. Mind you, that's a scenario of shutting someone for like years and years. It's one of those things where I'm gonna have to explain to them that enabling someone to do something and or also like the language that's being used towards someone also plays a big role too. So it's one of those things where the strictness and our discipline that I'm not only creating for myself, but this person that lives right next to me and or sleeps right next to me. Um, so that's been really interesting to see and or also break through too. So it's one of those things where I got to get rid of that. Uh, I gotta get rid of that. So I'm gonna see what I can actually do. I'm looking to probation officers and or see if I can have police officers like talk to him or some shit like that or what have you. But next comes in restraining order, so I learned that really properly. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that as well. And then from what I can gather too, and or what I can see is that there isn't anything pushing this person towards being better. Just being utilized for whatever the fuck services that he gets or what have you because of his disability. So it's one of those things where I can't respect any of that. I don't respect the retardation and or the retardation of really understanding that you can do a lot better, but you choose not to. So no thanks. I don't fucking believe in any of that and or folks that carry that shit can go and fucking do that somewhere else. So with that being said, uh, uh, he's definitely been writing down what he's been doing and or cleaning up and or also keeping himself really nice and clean too. So I can't complain about that. It's understandable too. It's just I think he gets the strictest. He gets the second strictest person in our personality. It's one of those things that like talking enough nonsense that people just give up and they're like, okay, and then they just like validate whatever it is that you're saying. So, nah, thanks. Just because I told him that I don't want to talk to him right now. Union's all fucking jacked or whatever. He does his like stupid king shit too. So it's one of those things where we're gonna have to like remove the phone or what have you and give me my kid's phone or what have you because it's one of those things where if that's not working, then by all means, that's where that's coming in. And being able to do that properly and understanding how to go about doing that is one thing, but I'd rather just move out by myself again. It's one of those things way easier than I have to deal with them and or anyone. So regardless, it just goes back to square number one, which is like trying to find a quiet place for yourself. And then I got rid of all my goods or what have you, and or most of them. So slowly rebuilding that. And then progress note was Smell of Dubai too. It's been on the works for a while too, since like we moved out there. So the fact that I got a solid oil to that, it's a good start to my day. Then again, it's just like I need my own space. So I can't be sharing a fucking room with like some crackhead or whatever. I'm not gonna go anywhere. Absolutely anywhere other than the fucking dumps. So this week I'm gonna take a look at that, and then on top of that too, I'm gonna retract all the shit that I did, like my resume or what have you. That's no more. And then also the weekends, like, wait a minute, what am I doing? Like, okay, I've been trying this entire month to get him a job somewhere, and you're like, nope, don't do that. Like, okay, bet. So if they want to be stuck in some, if they want to be stuck, by all means, I have places to be and things to look at and that kind of thing as well. So definitely pull out all my cards to be able to create space in between and or also gather things that I need in between. So it's working out really well. Just the activities that were sent out there, the activities that were done, the work that's being done, and then retirement also. So the idea of doing certificates and our graduation letters and or anything else in regards to that to be able to provide to my uncle. So I'm gonna go ahead and print that out and make a nice little folder so that I can have here. And then I would have to figure out a solid way, like Donna gave me the two-word scenario, but I have to figure out a way to put all of the certification onto like a resume type scenario because it's like years and years and years of worth of trainings that are essentially useless because no one knows that you took them and or have any idea of what you're doing or how you're doing it. And so it makes it really tough here. Makes it tough to be able to explain things to someone and or also make it really tough to like explain that to someone where it's like, hey, I can see that you're not interested at your job at whatsoever and or have no respects for whatever is happening here within this here. It's been 4 years. This scenario started out during the pandemic, and then on top of that, there is no educational director out there. So it's one of those things of like calling yourself something and then really like putting things out there. And so I've come to learn that really well to make sure that I, whatever it is that I write down and or whatever title that I hold myself up to and or certificates that I receive are just that the white supremacy scenario where it's like you need documentation of everything and everything. And so it's one of those things that I had explained out there. It gave me a lot of joy to understand that someone doesn't know what I do or who I am or what I go about or any of that. So keep on doing that. Keep on doing your wizard stuff. And it gave me a lot of joy in the sense that it gives me the ability to explain that to others and or whomever's ready to listen. There's a lot of folks out there that just want to stay stuck and or stay in a comfortable place that they're in or what have you. And so I can't, it like itches at me and then like it irritates me and things like that. So trying to find someone who is able to keep me nice and busy and or distracted towards whatever it is that I'm trying to do. Um, just like another piece to the puzzle. It's like I just need someone there so that I can properly. It's like I'm already being better for myself. Like it's one of those things where like there's notions of being better for another person that's ready for that. So uh, yeah, that's that. And that's pretty much it. I'm glad that I'm doing my. I'm glad that I'm doing my my captain's note. That's been on my to-do list as well. My what's next is pretty solidly set up. Documentation, certifications, templates is also set up as well. Um, Materialist and also material list as well as items that we'll need for each of the sites as well. And then being able to explain this position out there is really interesting. The shadowing that I got was really interesting. Didn't do anything instead sit in front of an office, literally. There's a couple of students up there that were not being helped and or were also being ignored. So that was really nice. But other than that, I'm glad that I'm doing this captain's note as well. It's just to really puts things into perspective. And then on top of that, congrats on the language. Like maybe because you're in a different setting that's not home or anything of that nature, but the language in itself sounds a lot better. Um, yeah. And the conversation that I had with Chris, especially with my haircut, like there is definitely a defined way that I'm going about living my life, and also in a very sequential way. And so this weekend and or the preparations for this weekend are haven't started and or haven't really thought about it besides the idea of picking up. But in the last few months, I have not written anything down into like a journal and or anything of that nature. I have like my couple docs, but other than that, it's pretty generic in the sense of what I'm trying to accomplish and that kind of thing as well. So it's nice. It's nice talking to myself as opposed to like talking to those folks around me. Just I don't care. I really don't. No one's come in. No one's come in and like, Antonio, how are things going, bro? And it's the same scenario of like you go back and there's like a solid theme to that too. So I care like this. Look, if you're in front of me, I'm caring for you. Like I will ask or like that kind of thing. If I see that there's no replication and or reciprocation, then by all means you can be quiet over here. It's one of those things where the mind in itself is it's wild, and so it's one of those things of being alone. It's one of those things that just get more thinking time of being there. So, and then that's pretty much it. I think I've really like fucked myself over in the sense of like caring. Yeah, it's like it's like I go after something, and it's like, oh, this is what I'm going after. And it's like, okay, let's go ahead and change that up. It's like, fuck. So, with that being said, let me put it like this. With that being said, I just want to say congratulations. I think congratulations is definitely in order. There's about 4 or 5 different organizations that are headhunting you. There's a solid organization right now that you're part of where you're not doing absolutely anything and you're getting paid for like the same amount. So congratulations on that. And then on top of that, the workings with the family too. So like the cards that you made, fantastic. The fact that it like made the idea of pushing a conversation was just top tier. And then on top of that too is like the work scenario. So like not being clean shaven and or like solid haircut or what have you plays a huge role too. So the fact that you did that, and then this week too, it's like automatic confirmations in regards to legs or what have you. So I can't wait to party, man. Like I definitely need a solid celebration and or some face in my face. So it's really cool to see. Um, yeah, it's really cool to see. So congrats on that. Like if no one fucking else is like doing that for you, it's one of those things where you're like the amount of work that's being done and or actually like that's on a consistent daily basis, by the way. It's like you're on and off like completely. So it's understandable in the sense of like the it's really the sense of like your nourishment when you're like taking in and stuff like that too. So the fact that you're using all your resources appropriately and accordingly as well, and then also explaining it in such a way where I really have to figure out where it's like one-liners and or also like long story time, but the attention span here is little to none. So, okay, so it's one of those things where I say I'm doing all this work, money, 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 money. It's like in the reality, dude, it's just like the most like retarded that I have felt in my life. And I'm not talking about like spectral retardation. I'm talking about like the notion of like this is it. Like I essentially found it's like this. It's like I've been essentially found a pedagogy where you're able to like be anything that you want to be, have the discipline to be able to get there. Pedagogy already set, and then on top of that too, I have AI, which is a machine giving me all the manuals and creating manuals. I think that's the most frustrating thing. Understanding that you could get all the answers and or achieve a possibility of getting an answer by asking the right questions or appropriate questions. And we, as a whole, have been consumed by pseudo. Oh, welcome to the world of pseudoscience, man. Wild. So yeah, with that being said, thank you. I love you. I care for you. Please let me know if there's absolutely anything that you need. Okay? And I understand too that you don't ask for much. I think we're gonna change that. Quality over quantity. Yeah, right. So yeah, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here. I essentially, for the entirety of the month, worked on my family, external family. I worked on essentially the pedagogy for the whole apartment complex. And then on top of that, created documentation to prove it all. So, bada bing, bada boom. It's one of those where if I bust out my binder and it's like, what did you study or what did you or where did you get all your information? It's like busting out such a piece of content. And the fact that I've been working on these pieces of content for years is one of the things that really the word is tenacity. Yeah, tenacity. An ongoing spectacular, an ongoing spectacular moment or an ongoing spectacular fluctuation of moments occurring constantly, ever lasting, forever, anything ever. uh it's good. So yeah, like I said, I love you, I care for you. um I love you very much, and if there's absolutely anything that you ever need ever, please let me know and we will make sure to get that for you. So I think I'm set. Thank you. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put this on where it belongs.